Okay, just a quick one. There are two ways of tying up a boat. Well, there's a couple ways of tying up a boat, but the most common ways are generally alongside and stern to. Right now we're going to be docking stern to, so I just want to give you guys a quick indication on sort of what the procedures are and what happens. Generally there's crew members that are used to tying up on the bow, and there's some crew members that tie up on the stern. So right now the guys will be getting the lines ready on the stern, and we put all the fenders out, and then basically I'll run you through exactly how it works. But if you imagine you've got ground lines, which are the ones that are on the bow, they pull the boat forward. Then you've got stern lines that are on the stern that pull the boat aft, and then you've got two springs that stop the boat moving from left to right. That way the boat's really nicely tied up. So right now we are docking stern to, and I just want to give you an indication of how it goes down and actually show you what it's like and what I get up to on the bow when it comes to tying up a boat. Right, so the first thing you'll see us do is grab what we call fender hooks. These basically hold the fender in place. We hang them over the rail on both port and starboard side of the boat. We space them evenly apart on the boat, and then this basically holds the fender tight, stops it from dropping any further, and then you don't have to tie it onto a railing or anything. You just hold them nicely in place, and then you can see we're grabbing the fenders there from Becca, which we then place over the rail, hang them over evenly, and use these to stop our boat from bumping any boats either side of us. To tie up a fender is pretty simple. You just put the line through the little eye on the bottom, and then bring it over the top, and that's a one-way gear, basically just stopping it from the line dropping any further down. Right, so what you're going to see me do now is basically take our stern lines. Obviously we have one on the port side and one on the starboard side. These are the stern lines that go out through the back, so you'll see I'm just basically prepping them now. We put that through what we call the fair lead. I will then walk it down and put it on the swim platform, and this line is almost ready to go ashore to be placed onto a bollard or a cleat or whatever it is that they have on the dock. Okay, so this line will end up going that way, this one will end up going that way, and that pulls the boat nice and evenly from the stern. Now, because these lines are so thick and heavy, to be able to throw them really far is really difficult, so we attach something called a heaving line, which Rebecca just threw at me. These are much lighter, smaller lines that we throw ashore, and then the guy on the dock pulls this line in order to get the big line ashore. This is when I suggest you guys start practicing your knots as soon as possible. In this case, all we do is tie a bowline around the main line, and that's good enough to be able to hold it for when we throw the little line, the heaving line, ashore. Now, when it comes to the bow, every port is different. Sometimes they give me the lines that I need to tie up onto the bow of the boat. Sometimes I need to drop two anchors because they don't have lines in the facilities. Every single dock is different, unfortunately, and it's just one of those things where you kind of got to adapt and be ready for anything when you get to the port. So in this case, we've been here before. I know that they've got two ground lines for me, one on the starboard side, one on the port side, and what I have to do is give them a little line from the top, because it's too high above the water to reach down and actually grab it with my hands. I just tie what we call a lazy line, hang it over the edge, and then they tie their line to it and I pull it on board. I can imagine, unless you've actually worked on boats before, that me explaining this might be really difficult for you. So to just give you an example, all you do is take what we call the lazy lines, put a little bowline on it, and put it over the cleat. That way I don't lose it. This will now go out through the fair lead, which is where their line will come in, so that this dangles, they grab that line, tie these two together, and I can pull it on board. We can now do exactly the same on the other side, coil the line up so it's ready to go out, and then we are pretty much ready to put all of this into practice as soon as we get there. Now these are obviously where the anchor comes up and goes down, but we also use the top as a winch, so we're able to release this up and use only this as the winch. See, nothing's stopping it. Okay, so setup is pretty much done. We've got both the winches released so that they're not part of the anchor anymore, and we use them only as a winch, and we've got the lazy lines ready, the stern lines are ready, we're all pretty much good to go. The only thing that's really left to do is to lower the lazy lines into the water so that when we arrive at the dock, the guy can just grab them, attach his lines to them, and I can pull them up. Okay, so we are just pulling up now. You can see all those boats have got their bum up against the dock. That's how we'll be docked, which is stern to. Probably will be on the right hand side of this boat over here, so we'll start spinning around in a few minutes and then back straight into it. You can see the guy
that's prepping just over there with our lines, our grind lines. So he's the guy that's going to bring me up the lines. So now I can probably chuck my lazy lines in. So that just dangles in the water and he'll be able to grab that and tie his line to it. Okay.
Right, so now that I've got his line attached to my lazy line, I can now pull his line on board. You'll see he's just got a very long thin line initially and it'll gradually get thicker. All I got to do is pull that now on board. While you're pulling up the line, you will eventually notice that it gets quite tough to pull anymore. The line that you are pulling on is probably connected to a big cement concrete block on the bottom of the ocean. You're not going to move it, so eventually you will have to put this around the winch and pull it tight so that the boat doesn't have any slack to move forward or backwards. It'll just sit nice and still.
Always a little bit of fine tuning, almost tight.
He's confirmed we can take up with the bow. Yeah, I'm happy to take up. Crank that bad boy. That's good, Jared. Our distance is perfect here.
Right, so the next step is to remove the line from the winch. We cannot leave it on there the whole time, so we have to lock it off and then wrap it around that cleat. And the way that we do that is with a stopper knot. So you'll see I will wrap this line around there once, I will go twice, and then over the two that I've wrapped over, and then do that twice as well, once and twice, and lock it off by just putting it through and pulling tight. And then as a little bit of an extra, I will then do one more loop and lock that off. That way that line is not moving anywhere. The line that I'm using is Spectra line. That stuff is insanely strong, so that's the line that we use to lock off all the knots. Once you have tied the stopper knot with the Spectra line onto the bow line, you can then get another crew member just to hold onto the Spectra line. You can see Chris has wrapped it around the cleat there for me, and he will hold on to that so that when I remove the main line from the winch and put it onto the main cleat, then Chris is holding it and stopping from that line from running away and sort of off the boat, if that makes sense. As soon as I've locked it off onto the main cleat, then Chris is clear to release his tension and I can remove the Spectra line from the bow line, and we are officially squared away and tied up.
Okay, well, that's how you tie up a boat on the bow. Okay, I'll show you the stern setup in a minute. So this stops the boat from moving left and right by taking this all the way to there. It stops the boat from yawing left to right. Okay, I won't lie, I could probably have done a better job explaining how we do all that if I wasn't actually doing the work at the same time and having a GoPro in my mouth of the suction cup. So I'm sure you guys have a couple of questions. Please feel free to just comment down below and I'll see if I can sort of refer you back and forth to certain parts of the video if you have any questions. But basically, that's how you tie a boat up stern to. Thanks so much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. Smash that subscribe button and stay tuned for like 30 plus videos of daily life on board at the end of my summer. For now, I'm just going to keep doing these little videos in between to sort of answer a couple of the questions that are coming through. But I look forward to presenting you with all the videos at the end of the summer. For now, smash that subscribe button and send us a couple DMs on Instagram. Look forward to it.